During the early part of the 20th century, there occurred a unique event in the spiritual history of modern India. In the remote village of Srila Mayapur, on the banks of the sacred Ganga in West Bengal, there resided a distinguished personality who would, in due course, do more to help raise the consciousness of human civilization than that of any other person of his time. On March the 7th, 1918, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, adorning the saffron robes of a mendicant, accepted the renounced order of life Tridandi Sannyas. He then raised the clarion call of Sri Krishna Sankirtan at Sridham Mayapur with Kartala Mridanga, that would eventually be heard in every town and village around the world. In so doing, Saraswati Thakur brought attention to the deep spiritual teachings of Krishna consciousness. He issued a universal challenge of totalitarian war against all philosophical and theistic misconceptions that cover the true identity of the soul. In the teachings of Saraswati Thakur, the only thing lacking in this material world is Krishna consciousness. The only real welfare work to be done is the distribution of Krishna consciousness, the prime benediction for humanity at large. The achievements of power, wealth, and fame are all temporary and lead to the perpetual suffering of the soul in the cycle of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement, started by Saraswati Thakur from Sridham Mayapur, was the revival of the original Krishna Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the 15th century. Through his preaching, Saraswati Thakur attracted to his mission many sincere members of the intelligentsia and social elite of Bengal. Together with his disciples, Saraswati Thakur led a second renaissance of the Krishna consciousness movement, establishing temples, defeating opposing philosophies, recruiting thousands of converts to the doctrine of divine love, and publishing ancient and modern spiritual texts in periodicals, books, and newspapers, and distributing them throughout India and abroad. From the time of his accepting Tridandi Sannyas in 1918 until his departure from this world in 1937, his mission, known as the Gaudiya Math, flourished under his guidance. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was born in Orissa at Jagad, Puri on February 6, 1874, as the seventh child of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srimati Bhagavati Devi. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a government official and was in charge of the Jagannath temple in Puri. In his spiritual life, Bhaktivinoda was a great pioneer of the Krishna consciousness movement. At a time when the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had all but been lost or distorted by unscrupulous persons, such as the Saki Bekis, Bhaktivinoda began publishing numerous papers, journals, and books, establishing the pure teachings of Sri Chaitanya. By his personal character, he restored dignity to the Gaudiya Vaishnava community. Bhaktivinoda prayed fervently to Lord Jagannath to kindly send him someone who would be capable of preaching the message of Sri Chaitanya. Upon the birth of his seventh child, Bhaktivinoda realized after observing a series of divine events that his newborn son was indeed the answer to his prayers. Accordingly, Bhaktivinoda named his son Bimla Prasad, meaning the mercy of Lord Jagannath, or one who revealed to the world the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. His sons receiving the blessings of Lord Jagannath during the annual Ratha Yatra festival, when he was only 5 months old, was noted by Bhaktivinoda as a direct confirmation of the divinity of his son. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada shares with us the memory of this event.
When my spiritual master appeared at Jagannath Puri, he was the son of a very big government office, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was magistrate, and in those days a magistrate is a big officer in the government, practically next to governor. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was in charge of the Jagannath temple. So there was Ratha Yatra festival, and the cart was passing in front of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. The car stopped before his house, and at that time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a child in the lap of his mother, the mother took the opportunity of rising on the cart. He was magistrate's wife, so he had the facility. Immediately people gave her a way to go on the top of the cart and place the child on the lotus feet of Jagannath, and there were many garlands. One garland fell upon him. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, blessings.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur moved his family to Calcutta the same year as Saraswati Thakur's birth, and later, in 1881, Bhaktivinoda constructed Bhakti Bhavan, the family's residence and place of bhajan. While digging the foundation for the house, Bhaktivinoda found a Kurma Shalagram Shila. He then placed 7-year-old Saraswati Thakur in charge of the daily worship of the Shalagram, which still remains at Bhakti Bhavan. Saraswati Thakur was indeed an exceptional personality who always showed keen interest in spiritual life. By the age of 7, he was assisting his father in proofreading the Sajjanatoshini, a monthly spiritual journal. That same year, he received Harinam initiation with Tulsi beads and Narasingha mantra from Bhaktivinoda. As a primary student at the Sri Rampur Christian Missionary School, Saraswati Thakur quickly mastered his general studies. Later, in 1885, while under the tutelage of Pandit Mahesh Chandra Chudamani and Pandit Sundarlal, he excelled in Sanskrit, mathematics and Vedic astrology. He was thus awarded the honorific title of Siddhanta Saraswati, meaning one whose knowledge and scholarship are blessed by the goddess of learning. That title was to remain with him for life. In 1887, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was posted in government service at Krishnanagar. During that time, he began visiting Navadvip town. On one such visit to Navadvip, Bhaktivinoda was staying at the Rani Dharamshala when he had a vision of Yogapith, the birth site of Sri Chaitanya. One Saturday evening, Bhaktivinoda was sitting on the roof of the Dharamshala in Navadvip. Across the Ganga, in the direction of Mayapur, Bhaktivinoda saw an effulgent glow. Within that divine effulgence appeared the Adbhut Mandir, a wonderful temple surrounded by light. Bhaktivinoda was utterly amazed. The following Saturday, Bhaktivinoda went to the area of Mayapur, where at night he again had a wonderful vision of the Adbhut Mandir. He spent the next day wandering all over the area. The elderly locals told him that this was indeed the location of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth. They pointed out an extensive mound covered with tulsi plants as the actual site of the Lord's appearance. However, in Navadvip, the findings of Bhaktivinoda were opposed by caste Brahmanas, who claimed that the birth site of Sri Chaitanya was actually Prachin Mayapur in modern Navadvip town. But according to Bhaktivinoda's research, utilizing old maps of Ganga Govinda Singh and authentic manuscripts of the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Bhakti Ratnaka, and Navadvip Parikram Padati, he was certain that Mayapur was located on the eastern bank of the Ganga. He also discovered that the present town of Navadvip, situated on the western bank of the Ganga, was not more than 100 years old. Thus, Prachin Mayapur in modern Navadvip could not be the birth site of Sri Chaitanya.